Right. So why would you say that numbering and documentation is important?
Well, that tells you from exactly what site it came from. For example, there's up and down a creek. I'm not going to mention the name, but yeah, Rocky Creek, and that has a number of sites. And if you just were to grab the points and put them in one big drawer, you would have no idea. But if you number them by site number, like 25 through whatever 34, at least you would know exactly where they came from. And with that, you would have a map showing the exact location. And nowadays you use a GPS, which is a global positioning satellite system. And that gives you, I mean, you can pinpoint that. And I have a GPS systems out as we're finding points, say like at Bunnick Lake in Goliad. It's a big playa or lake bed. It's dry right now. And when we find an artifact, I'll take a reading of it. We'll have a number for it, but it will also take a GPS reading. So we can go back years from now and you can look at that and say, well, this point was found exactly at this point. But it's within a meter, roughly a meter.
Right. In terms of documentation, can you think of any examples where documentation has really helped you, like, I don't know, make connections between different finds or with other archaeologists?
Now, there's one I found, there's a collector that had a bowstone. Okay, the bowstone was in broken up pretty bad. In fact, they had two of them, but this one in particular was a real fine-grained sandstone, and I drew it off, and not that great artist, but it was recognizable. And I gave this to a little write-up, a description of it, and I gave that to my buddy, and he in turn put in his files, and a few years later, he looked at it, was going through his files, and he saw that, and he said, oh, that's interesting. And then it was Christmas time, he met a buddy of his that I had never met. And as he was going through a cigar box, quote unquote, with artifacts in there, he happened to come across another piece that looked similar to that. He said, I bet that's going to fit. So he brought that artifact to me, and sure enough, it did fit from the same site. Somebody else had collected this years before, and the two has fit. So he talked the guy, buddy of his, out of the piece, and then I talked the owner of the piece off, and I glued them together, and they're now at the museum here at Coastal Bend.